And it's time. All right. We got to ask this question as folks begin filtering in as usual. As you see, the video is actually titled Trump versus Black Lives Matter. Where the hell am I going with this? Trump versus Black Lives Matter. Why would I even put those two in the same category? Well, and as folks get in here, I will repeat this a second time, but Trump versus Black Lives Matter. The reason I'm making a comparison is because there is no denying that Black Lives Matter has received a lot of donations and managed them in a fraudulent manner. Why would I put Trump in that same category? Is it possible Trump may have some campaign donations, some donations to his causes where he has not explained? In regards to the election of 2020, it is starting to appear, and I'm not here to pretend like this is fact or anything of that nature. I'm willing to entertain it. I'm willing to talk to folks about it. But it appears that he raised a significant amount of money, and I see Blade 347 in the comments. It appears he raised a significant amount of money to the tune of millions of dollars, letting his supporters believe that this was going to be used to pursue a fair election. And history looking back, the reports and the investigation looking back is suggesting that that money was not used for that cause. Now, it's speculation. Yours truly, your humble correspondent, I can't speak on this shit. I'm not pretending like I know the answers. I'm not trying to convict Trump, but it's worth asking the question. It's absolutely worth discussing. Tap the screen, show your boy some love. Get my MAGA in here. Get me my MAGA. That's who I want to talk to. I want to speak to him. Tap the screen. I need 5,000. Y'all can make this happen. Trump versus Black Lives Matter. Why the hell will we be asking that? No doubt that Black Lives Matter raised a ton of money, having folks believe that it was going to go to African-American causes, help out minorities, and it looks like it was a bunch of bullshit. Trump, we're talking $200 plus million was raised on the guise that it was going to help restore the integrity of the election and turn things the way that a lot of MAGA believed it should have went for 2020. The current investigation being taken place right now is suggesting that that money did not go to that cause. Is that fraud? Yes or no? Is it something that Trump should be held accountable for? I'm not saying it happened. I'm not saying I'm the know-all, wherewithal, or anything. I'm just simply saying that this is what is coming out, and by God, you have the right to ask questions. Just like a lot of folks who question Black Lives Matter did not make a single dime or a single penny contribution to Black Lives Matter, a lot of folks who made no contribution to MAGA, they are entitled to ask the question. Just want to say that. Trump still grifting. Okay, going to the comments. And the box is open. Money never goes to the cause, says Silk. Okay, fair enough. Trump is a grifter. I'm starting to hear that grifter word a whole lot. What is a grifter? Somebody, where are my thesaurus? Where are my Websters at? What is a grifter? Somebody let me know in the comments. What is a grifter? I'm supposed to know that, but I don't. That's why I love this audience. You guys educate me all the time, every day. That's why I prefer talking to MAGA, but liberals are welcome. What the hell is a grifter? User Guy 1962 pointed out he paid his son's mistress $60,000. That is really coming to the forefront. Kimberly Guilfoyle, a former Fox News correspondent. She used to be on the 5, very attractive woman. She left Fox News under the Me Too movement, by the way. She was Me Too'd out of Fox News. She is the girlfriend of Donald Trump Jr. Apparently, she was paid $60,000 to simply announce the guy coming on the stage. You remember Merv Griffin? Here's Johnny. That's it. That is all she did. What the hell? What is the guy who announces the fights? And now you get paid 60 grand. Let's get ready to rumble. 60 grand of your money if you donated to that. Is that not worth asking the question? I'm not saying that Trump was fraudulent with the money. I'm just simply saying the allegations is making it appear so. So if you want to hold Black Lives Matter accountable for raising a bunch of money from folks believing it was going to a legitimate cause, we have to ask these questions about Trump. I know this audience don't want to hear this shit. I get it. Call me whatever name you want to. That is fine. But at the end of the day, it is a fair question to ask. If he raised $250 million under the guise it was going to help restore the 2020 election and make it go the right way, and the money was not used for that cause, how can you not ask questions? Is that not fraud? Did he not violate some laws? We certainly asked that of Black Lives Matter. Let me look at the comments. I have stage 4 colon cancer. Please pray for me. Wow. My mom just passed away of that earlier this year. God bless. Let's get ready to rumble. Dude gets $100,000 each time he says that. Okay. Kimberly Guilfoyle is not quite as popular as whatever that guy's name, Bruce Buffer or whatever his name is. Let's get ready to rumble. She actually announced Donald Jr. was coming to stage, and they paid her $60,000 to just simply announce that the guy was coming out. If you donated money to help restore the integrity of the 2020 election, and it $60,000 went in her pocket just to announce, how the hell this is your boyfriend. This is not even a stranger you're announcing. You're announcing that your boyfriend is coming to stage, the son of the president, and you get $60,000. If Hillary Clinton hired her daughter to do some shit like that, my audience, my MAGA folks would go insane for something like that. Look, folks, I only ask that you do one thing. Be able to call a spade a spade. I want you to call strikes and balls the same way no matter who's at bat. Just be honest with yourself. If this was happening in reverse, imagine if it's happening from Black Lives Matter. I just want you to be honest. I'm not saying accuse Trump of anything. I'm not saying deny that Black Lives Matter didn't. I'm just simply saying be fair in your judgment. Looking at the comments, how you like them gas prices? Hope you're happy with your vote. I don't like the gas prices at all, but I'm not going to distract from what took place in regards to this election because of gas prices. You can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. Don't let the gas prices piss you off so much that you ignore everything else in the world. That doesn't make sense. If there is injustice or unfairness or some bullshit happening over here, you don't have to ignore that because you're paying a bunch of gas over here. You can address them both at the same time. Americans are capable of that, and I'm sure you are too. Let me look at the comments. Hillary does pay her daughter. Exactly, and I am certain, 100% certain, there are plenty of my viewers who have criticized the Clintons for doing crooked shit with campaign funds. Let me just ask that. 500 folks in here, tap your damn screens. Y'all can it's enough of you in here that if you tap your screen 10 times, I'll be where I want to be. I'm trying to get 5,000 likes. Where my Patriots at? I know there's a lot of Patriots don't want to hear the shit I'm talking about now, but I'm going to bring it to you. I understand that the channel should be pro-Trump because there's a bunch of Trump folks in here. I get that. I'm willing to give Trump where he deserves credit. I think he was running the country better than Biden. I say it on every fucking broadcast. But this right here, as Cat Williams once said, this shit right here, we have to ask. He raised $250 million under the guise that he was going to pursue fairness in the 2020 election and correct that shit. Instead, he ended up with an investigation, and it may ultimately lead to him not being able to run again. I don't know if it's going to go that way. I'm admitting speculance. I'm admitting that I'm speculating. I'm admitting that I'm ignorant on some of these subjects. I'm not even accusing the guy of fraud. I'm just simply saying, if what I'm hearing is true, as a citizen, you should be able to ask questions. I know folks out there who think Black Lives Matter is a goddamn terrorist outfit, but they're asking questions. What happened to the money? So why can't you ask? Okay, looking at the comments again. Trump Jr. got 60,000. That's all I'm saying is that $60,000 to announce that your boyfriend is coming to stage, and we can't ask questions about that. I mean, seriously, you can't say anything about that. She's announcing that her own man is about to come to stage to help his dad get reelected. How did she get $60,000 out of that? How does that, by any means, look worthy of 60 grand? Kimberly Guilfoyle is not a Class A name. She's not Tom Hanks. She's not Meryl Streep. How did she get $60,000 for a goddamn sentence? I mean, come on now. Why can't I ask questions? That's all I'm asking. Trump derangement, says Freedom Foxtrot. Call it what you want. $250 million raised. You want to talk about Black Lives Matter? How much money did Black Lives Matter raise to buy mansions and yachts and fancy cars? We talked about that. I've had broadcasts on here about that. I didn't skip over Black Lives Matter. I didn't sweep it under the rug. We have discussed it right here on these broadcasts. But the minute I bring up something that's different, something you don't like, all of a sudden I'm deranged. I got dementia. I can't speak. I don't know where I'm at. Come on now. Call a strike a strike. Be fair. Stop deflecting, says a crate. Let me get to the box, because I want to know where I'm deflecting. Right, I know I'm inviting that. I don't censor free speech. I let the people speak. Good evening, or good afternoon, Freedom. What is on your mind?
Hi, how are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Am I not entitled to ask these questions, or am I barking up the wrong tree?
Well, I think everyone should ask questions about everything, right?
Okay. So what about this, though? What about this when I'm asking questions about?
So the questions that I'm hearing you ask, and this is just me being honest, I don't understand, and maybe you do on different lives, but where are your questions about what's going on currently with the gas, the food? Because that's all stuff that is insanely more important than rich people paying another rich person, 60 grand to say a sentence, right?
Good point. Okay, I can answer that. Real good point. Let me state this first of all. Even in this broadcast right here, I've suggested that gas prices suck. I think somebody brought it up. I've suggested that Trump was better at running the economy on literally every broadcast I do. And I've also had broadcasts deliberately addressing what Black Lives Matter did. I'm just simply asking, is it not possible for us to address what they're suggesting that happened and address the other issues at the same time? Is it one of those cases where as long as gas prices are high, we can't talk about whatever he did with the campaign funds?
Let me ask you this. Did you, or are you critiquing the other side just as hard?
Asking my audience is good. Another good question. My audience is primarily Trump or Maga. That's what I prefer talking to. That's what I talk to all day, every day. And I critique the hell out of Biden. If you look on my on the profile here, out of my videos, there are several videos critiquing Biden and what's on the economy. Throughout my broadcast, I do that. But I'm just simply saying, while we have this particular subject, do we have to divert back to the economy and skip over what we're talking about?
No, if you are going after both sides equally, I think that's incredible. Because I think all of us as Americans need to look at the people that represent us and the elites. They truly are not like the rest of us, right?
Okay.
The rest of us are hardworking and just trying to have a decent life. And everything going on has me very concerned. And I'm fairly new to your lives. I've never been on one, so that's why I was asking you those questions.
And I'm glad to have you here. And if you lean right, let me just give you my personal spiel. And by the way, you're welcome here anytime, regardless if we agree or not. I want to make it clear to you and anybody else that's watching. You will always get a chance to state your opinion here. You'll never be blocked or censored, no matter how horrible what you say. If I don't agree with it, folks insult me all the time. If you look at my videos, the top first left video that I have pinned is one of my viewers, such as yourself, a regular viewer, cursing me the hell out. I do not censor comments, so period. But go ahead, sir. I appreciate you being here, by the way. You're welcome anytime.
Well, yeah, no, I appreciate you having the life. I think anything that brings attention to what's going on is a good thing. I also think talking with people that may or may not agree with you is a good thing, especially when you can do it civilly.
100%.
So I'm definitely not right or left. I am strictly a constitutionalist, right? So, like, I believe in the Constitution, and I believe that both sides get away from following that quite a bit.
That is true.
And
I
so,
could not, and I've
so
had
therefore,
several broadcasts about that. You're right about. I agree with you 100%. But continue.
yeah. So we probably agree on probably 99% of the things then.
That is very popular.
I appreciate you having me on. I will definitely watch some more of your videos because I am new to you. And I appreciate you having me on.
All right, 100%, sir. Come on back through anytime. It's always a pleasure.
I definitely will.
All right, thank you. And folks, just like that gentleman there, you come through, state your point, whatever that may be, however you may feel. You do not have to agree with your host. In fact, you may think your host is a damn idiot. You can state that as well. Okay, but back to the original comment. Do you believe it's a legitimate question to ask Trump raising $250 million plus, more than $250 million plus, having his supporters believe that the money they were donating was going to restore the integrity of the 2020 election and get that man back in office. And now that the investigation is suggesting that virtually none of that money went to that cause, now I'm here admitting ignorance. I'm not here to act as though what I'm suggesting is the gospel truth. So don't come to me where you don't know, you don't have proof. I'm asking, are we allowed to ask questions? I'm not saying that this is 100% true yet. The investigation is still ongoing. But this is the direction the investigation is leaning towards, that the money may have not been used in the way that it was collected. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. I entertain every single guest that got on my programs, on my broadcast, when it started coming out that Black Lives Matter was using that money to purchase mansions and all kinds of shit. I didn't run from that. I didn't divert from that. We held a broadcast based on that. So why can't we talk about this? Call a strike a strike. Be fair on both sides. Let's talk. The box is open. The founder of Black Lives Matter never tried to overthrow the government. Wow. Can we get an update on our hot dog savings for this 4th of July? All right. Black Lives Matter organization is a scam, always was. And it's starting to look like what we're talking about may be one as well. I understand my audience is predominantly Maga. That is who I prefer talking to. I get that this is a horrible subject. This is not something you want to talk about. You can come up with a million liberal failures that you'd rather hear about. But this is in the news, folks. We try to address what's going on. We can't skip over it because it's your guy. That's not fair, right? You would, if something happened like this on the left, and you came on the program and I tried to divert, how would you respond to that? We should be able to talk about whatever. No snowflake. This is a no snowflake zone. Big Nasty, do it yourself. Let me bring Big Nasty on. Big Nasty going to come at it correct. Let's see what Big Nasty has to say.
Hey, okay. Man, we talked before.
Big Nasty. Yes, we have. I'll never forget that name.
Well, I just
What's going on?
I just got a couple things that the main thing about the 250 million that really bothers me is that is probably going to get him in trouble is that the foundation that they claimed that money was going to, now they're finding out it didn't even exist.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And then, I mean, if only 60 million went to Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, or 60,000, what did the other 249 million? You know,
well, and that's the thing. If you're willing to give her 60 grand based on that, how much are you willing to give Donald Trump or Ivanka or Trump or Donald Trump Jr.? How much are you willing to give them based on? If you give the girlfriend 60 grand just to say, here's Donald Trump Jr., I mean, what would happen if you had something legitimate? How much did you allow them to overcharge? I don't know how you explain giving somebody like Kimberly Guilfoyle 60 grand for a sentence. She's not an A-list actress. She's not a
No,
Halle Berry. She's not Jennifer Lopez. How do you get that?
it probably pays for them collagen bills on them lips. But anyhow, she another. I had a question about something you had said earlier though, because I just wanted to. You had said that you blame a lot on what's going on right now with the
The
economy
economy.
on Biden.
Yes, I
And
do.
so let me ask you this. So right now with inflation, and I look at this at a more common sense. I go back and research and find out where's all this coming from.
Okay.
And our inflation right now is still suffering from shipping problems out of China, factories for poultry and beef and pork that were shut down during COVID. They're still not back to full capacity. The chip shortage that they had over in China, all of
Okay.
that. Now, all of that goes all the way back before Biden even took over. That was still a COVID problem. My part about this administration is it's still not squared away. Now, one of the biggest problems with that, though, is I follow another guy who monitors shipping out of China, and China still has a really big problem getting products
Okay.
overseas
Here,
from China.
here's the, okay. I get where you're going with this. Here's the reason why I put blame on President Biden. Let's say he absorbed the worst economy in the world from Trump because of COVID pandemic, or just say you think Trump was doing a shitty job. Whatever the question, whatever the answer may be. If you look at what Biden took from Trump when he was inaugurated on January 20th or 22nd of 2021, and you look at the economy up till February before Putin, because I know he's blaming a lot of it on Putin. If you
Yeah.
look at from January 21st or 20th or whatever he got inaugurated until February when Putin went into the Ukraine, there is no denying things were getting worse under Biden. Now, you can say he inherited a horrible economy,
Yeah,
but
but
where's the turn?
he also inherited a lot of big problems that were coming, that were going to take time. These shipping problems isn't something that's going to be fixed overnight, especially now. Don't get me wrong, I'm not making excuses. I'm just looking at the actual facts of what's happening. Those shipping problems are not going to be fixed overnight. Like I said, today, China is only shipping out like one or two ships to the US a day. That's like,
So, are we to suggest that the country is falling apart economically and none of it is his fault? We just can
no, no,
simply
no.
say,
I'm not.
I guess this is the point. I guess this is the point I'm trying to make. At what point does what the country is doing become his fault and not some other entity?
I think that well, you have to look at economists who look at how long it takes to recover from that kind of from the shipping problems, from the closed plants. Like the formula issue. We didn't. Nobody, no Republicans turned around and talked about why we only had one factory in the U.S. that supplied specialty formula, and that basically crushed the market when they took that down because, two kids died from the contamination in the floor in the formula. So that was something that happened. You didn't hear the other side saying, well, this was a problem that we knew was coming
Well,
because
let me ask you this: was there only one formula company? Okay, when Trump was in power, there was only one or two. What Infamil, Similac? There was only one or two formula companies under Trump. Were there a bunch of them under Obama?
no,
Then that's not something
no,
he
I'm just,
inherited from Trump. They both were lacking on that issue. It
I
just
agree.
exploded under Biden.
I agree. What I'm saying is that a lot of times especially when you watch the media, you see only one side saying, well, this is all his fault because we had this problem. Well, you could have fixed the problem. And I told you this before the last time we talked. I always look at my party. I don't care about what Democrats are doing, especially when my party looks like crap. When my mother used to say, if your house looks like garbage, don't be talking about somebody else's house. So,
Fair enough.
I always look at that when I always hear people say, "Well, what about?" What about doesn't fix anything. And I
No.
agree. There are some things Biden needs to do and his administration needs to do to try to get some of this stuff under control. Right
Let
now,
me let me interrupt and ask you this. Let's say the exact same thing was happening under Trump. What do you think the liberals would be saying? Do you think they would be
they be,
saying that, well,
it would be the exact opposite. But
exactly.
but there is one main difference that we see now in our politics. When we had a problem with COVID, liberals worked with Trump to get some stuff started. When we had a problem with what was it? There was another issue. I can't remember what it was. Liberals worked with Republicans to get laws passed. You have Republicans right now in my party who refuse to do anything that liberals do. An example: health care for vets. They had a bill go through, one page, that said when a veteran gets out of the military, they will automatically enroll into VA health care instead of having to go through the red tape garbage that we have to go through.
Okay.
Not 161 Republicans, including vets, said no. They had another bill for veterans to take care of burn that were suffering from cancer from burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan. 145 Republicans, including vets, said no. They had another bill where they want to add
So
some.
wait. Okay, I don't want to go too deep down because
Well,
obviously this is a
the other one I was saying was about formula, and we needed money to help get formula from overseas so we could try to restock the formula. And 140 Republicans said no. I mean, my point is that when Republicans are in office, the liberals seem to work with them. They argue and they complain, but they get even tax breaks get passed. But when a Republican now is in office, they're like, we're not going to support them at all. There's very few. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Okay, I don't know if I necessarily agree that the liberals work with Republicans. I mean, there's fighting on both sides, but I understand the
Yeah,
point you're trying to make. But okay, well, fair enough. And in the VA stuff you're talking about, I'm going to claim ignorance. I don't know enough about that to speak on that. So
it's
I'm
easy to look it
pretty
up.
sure I'm pretty certain I can come up with several Republican policies that liberals disagree with, and vice versa. It's just a lot of division in this country right now, man. I mean,
There
it's
is.
just a lot.
There
Go
is.
ahead.
And I'm talking, when I say that liberals or conservatives don't agree with something, you're always going to have that. But over the last two administrations, where there's been George Bush and Donald Trump were in office, there have been a lot of bills passed that had a lot of liberal support. Not all. Of course, there's always some of them that just stand firm and say no. But lately, under Obama and under Trump, Biden,
They were
it's
because
just
they
been,
were.
all they know is the
It
word
because
no.
I get what you said. I get what I might have to move it on, but I get what you said, and I'll give you the last word. But I will say this: obviously, because of who Obama was and what he represented, he was going to come with a lot of divisiveness. And then Trump, the way he
Yeah,
was speaking, and then because of the way Trump was speaking and the way Trump treated Obama, Trump also came with a lot of divisiveness. So I agree with your comment in regards to the parties don't seem to work with each other right now. But if you go back to George W. Bush or Bill Clinton, they were working with each other. It's just that the
yeah,
last two guys, Trump and Obama, because of who Obama was, the last two guys have been incredibly divisive, and that's where I believe it started at.
yeah. But even with Trump, liberals got on board with a bunch of policies that Trump's administration pushed through, and he was able to sign them. There was two tax cuts. There was the uh, I have to remember. I kind of drawn a blank, but I know there was two tax cuts that the GOP pushed through, and there was enough liberal support to get it pushed through and signed. So that those things
I,
do
I
happen.
can't,
I
I can't,
wish
yeah,
that,
see, I can't totally agree that the liberals are working with Trump like that. I mean, the way Trump was talking about folks, that alone, I can't imagine the Liberal Party being willing to work with him on much. Certainly not the wall, and certainly not
no,
just the
no.
way he addressed immigrants entirely. Yeah, the Liberal Party. I
A
don't
lot of the
look back
rhetoric,
at that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
look
right.
back at
A lot
2000.
of the
I don't look back at the Trump administration and say the liberals were working with them like that. But I'll give you the
well,
last one. I got to move it on. Go ahead, man.
well, I'll make it quick. You should go back and look at what laws Trump signed into law and see how many liberals voted yes on them to get them through. Some of them were really some good stuff. Some of them, I don't like the tax cuts. I think they're crushing our debt. But anyhow, I appreciate talking to you. Glad you let me
Absolutely.
talk, and I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Look forward to hearing from you. All right. Okay. One of the things I will say in regards to what he suggested, we're going to get back to our original topic, but one of the things he suggested with the liberals working with the Republicans and not vice versa. I'm not trying to defend Republicans by saying this, but shit, the way he's making it sound, because senators and Congress people have to do what their constituents want, such as Joe Manchin or some of them folks, like Liz Cheney is doing something a lot of her constituents do not want, which is why she's not running for office anymore. Based on what he's saying, whereas liberals are working with Republicans, but Republicans are not working with liberals, it almost makes it, I would listen to what he's saying and suggest that the liberals, the Republican, damn, but somebody called me from Portugal, the Republican policies might have something to do with why liberals are working with them more. Based on his own statement, it makes it sound like Republicans are passing better legislation, which is allowing the liberal politicians to get their constituents on board easier. Whereas if the liberals pass something and it's too far to the left, the left wing politicians, or better yet, the right wing politicians, are going to have a harder time getting their constituents on board. I could be wrong the way I'm suggesting this, but listening to what he said, that's the way I would take it. Is that it's easier to get the left to go with the right because their constituents don't see that as that bad. But the things that the left want, it's real hard to get the right to agree with it because they don't like it. That's just the way I'm viewing that. Okay, your girl Manda, I think we spoke before. What goes on?
Hey there,
Okay, good afternoon, you
handsome.
girl.
How's it
What's
going?
up, baby? What's going on? Oh, it's all good.
Okay. Well, I wanted to just keep on with your point. I think what we're seeing between the right and the left is absolutely what you just said. It's nailed it on the head because what's happening is the left is wanting more rights, and the right side has traditionally been known to preserve rights and fight for more liberties.
I can't necessarily agree with that. Let me tell you why.
Wait. Okay.
George Bush and the Patriot Act was a even Trump said some of the stuff George Bush did was the worst mistakes in U.S. history. So I don't totally agree with that, but I'll
Are you
let you
talking about
continue.
George Bush or George
He's a
W. Bush?
Republican. You said
No,
liberals versus
which
Republicans.
one? Which one? George Bush from like his dad or George
No,
W. Bush?
George W. Bush, the son, he used 9/11. George W. Bush, a Republican that served 2 terms, used 9/11 to take away all sorts of freedoms from the American people in the Patriot Act.
Okay,
Do
but
you
yeah,
not agree?
George W. Bush. Yeah, I do agree. He was so much more of a aggressive. He had such a much more aggressive position on our political position, on our position where we stood with our military, and so
Okay.
he wanted to have a much more dominant presence. So he did come across a little bit more of a tyrant in that sense to the general population. I will
What
say
about
he
stop and
exerted
frisk?
his
What about stop and frisk? That's a Rudolph Giuliani. That's a right wing policy. Stop and frisk. That's taking away your Fourth Amendment rights, and that's
right.
widely supported by right wingers.
Uh, that's not widely supported by right wingers at the time. You see, these things are but all of these particular ones. You're making a great point. Are rooted.
You don't think that
Keep
stop
going.
and frisk, you don't think that stop and frisk, particularly in urban high crime areas, is not widely supported by right wingers?
By older ones, probably so. Unfortunately,
The ones who vote. That's
yeah.
the ones that actually vote.
And that is a contributing factor probably as to why
Okay.
racism is still viewed as such a prevalent issue when, among our generation or younger generation, it's truly not. I'm in my young 30s. I really don't know anyone that goes out of their way to be racist. But and I don't know anyone that, particularly votes for racist legislation. But then when you bring up points like that, it helps for, me and for fellow listeners to help understand the plight of those that still feel that racism is prevalent.
And that's why I appreciate you here, and it's always good to have an exchange of information. And Kevin in
Well,
the comments,
I wanted to.
Kevin,
Okay, go ahead.
I'll let you continue, but I just want to respond to Kevin in the comments said, but stop and frisk works. Do you know how many of your rights that could be taken
Oh,
away
don't.
that could
Ooh.
benefit benefit the country to some degree? You don't give
Fuck,
away your
stop,
constitutional
and
rights when
frisk.
something works. Yeah.
Fuck,
Go ahead.
stop, and frisk. Fuck the justice system. It's a classist system. It gets confused with being racist. Um, we need to have more rights, not less rights. No, it's not. That does not help with safety. It helps put drug addicts in jail.
Yeah.
It helps put poor people in jail. Sure. You might catch a felon with a firearm every now and then, if they haven't been violent, of course. But no. Uh, Fuck that.
I would also submit to you Sheriff Joe Arpaio, that used to be a sheriff down in the Phoenix area in Florida. He was stopping at random anyone that looked brown and demanding they had paperwork they had a big illegal immigration problem in the area. So he had his sheriff stop anyone that looked brown and demand they show paperwork. He was ultimately arrested, charged, and convicted and about to serve time, and Trump pardoned him. So and that's a right winger through and through. Sheriff Joe Pio, a right
Okay,
winger
so
through
that
and
is
through.
almost like a vigilante in a weird way, because I'm going to say this: socialists are a threat to our economy at this point. They fetishize European countries that have populations. Denmark, for example, has a population of 6 million people. When the reality is, we live in a country that has nearly 500,000,000 people now, and inflation is really bad. We try to help all. Honestly, it's fueled by white guilt. It's fueled by distraction, by singular events that then set forth motions that are fueled by, all these injustices that we see distract us from what's really going on by this large corrupt government that's necessary, because the larger the population, the larger the government. And we don't have a capitalist system. We have a mixed system of both capitalism and a little bit of socialism. Well, that's why we have government programs.
You need
And
it.
so,
You need both.
and we do need to have that. Okay, we need to constantly adapt to our constantly changing and fluctuation of people and cultures and things like that. But the thing is, America is at capacity. India is what we would be comparing ourselves to, and they're currently converting to capitalism as we speak, because they're failing so badly. We're going to be seeing skyscrapers, tent cities, things like that in the upcoming generations if we don't stop with our ways. And I mean, our border policy does need to get stronger. It's okay for
Let me
Canada.
interrupt you and let me say this, and I'll let you continue. But I will say this:
Yeah.
you're talking about like India and our country being capitalist. A lot of
Well,
the
yeah.
things that you're, yeah, a lot
Looking
of
at
the things
current
that you're
trends.
pointing to. Okay, a lot of the things that you're pointing to that's about to happen, some might argue it's because of capitalism. For instance, the border.
No,
The only reason those immigrants are coming across the border in wide numbers like that, and Americans are
they
letting them
want the
in, is
American
because
dream.
they make money off of them.
Oh, absolutely. They want to come here. That's why we need to secure the borders. Otherwise, they're
No,
not going to
no,
want
I
to
didn't
come here
know. I
because
didn't
we're
say
going to be
no, no,
socialists like
no.
them.
I didn't say they want to come here. I said
Oh,
we're
they do.
letting them in because Americans are making money off of them.
Why isn't America all white Europeans anymore? Besides,
Because
I mean, aside from, I mean,
excellent
I
question.
understand.
Excellent question. Excellent. Let me answer that. Why is America all white Europeans anymore? Because of capitalism. They tried to capitalize off of other people to save money, to make money, and that I say this all the time.
The
America,
black
for anybody
slave
who
trade is like the only exception on that. The rest, like all of the other immigrants, I mean, I'm only a third generation American myself. I come from Jewish immigrants, Arab immigrants, I mean, everybody flocked here.
Okay,
They
let me
flocked to the
continue this.
shore.
Let me continue this point. All right, let me continue this point though. I say this all the time for folks who complain that this group is changing America or this group is going against the founding fathers. I tell folks all the time, particularly Caucasians, America, once the Native Americans were defeated, America could have remained as white and as Christian as you're talking about. White
Yeah.
Christian. Hold on, let me finish this point.
I'm agreeing
White
with you.
Christian, white Christian, no LGBT, whatever you wanted it to be. It was the folks, the founding fathers, who were going to these other countries, exploiting them for labor. Started off with African Americans, went to the Hispanics. Now you got the Chinese and all these. Those folks are what has changed the country. If you want to blame the direction that America has taken away from what the founding fathers intended, you got to blame the wealthy, greedy Americans that were here from the traditionalist times that would not do their own labor. Had they simply done their own labor, the country could have been the way they wanted it to be. But no, they kept exploiting group after group after group, and these folks would come here and change the country. They didn't have to bring them. Go ahead.
Okay, great point. And I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna start with, I think it's time now as a nation that we stop looking for retributions, that we stop trying to find faults, and we look at history as a whole and and to prevent it from repeating itself, and that we just simply adapt to where our society is now, that we love each other, black, white, Spanish, trans, what the hell ever, that we love and accept each other and live with the liberties that I'm not talking about, oh, white Christian, this, that, or the other. I definitely do not view that as perfection. Um, it makes me disgusted almost, like, to think of that as perfection. There's no variety and it's so gross. But
All
like,
right.
um, we are such a melting pot now. The goal has been achieved. Oh my God, so many different ethnicities, so many different races, so many different sexes, so many different, uh, you know, gosh, however you identify sexually, so many different sexual orientations. Everything has been fought for and represented over time. Look at what a freaking people we are. Look, we are the representation for the world. We are the envy of the world because of the way our society fights for
I
its
don't think.
rights.
Okay. All right. Fair. Well, I got to move it on. I do got to part ways with you, but I will just say
Yeah.
this: when you look at what's happening with our schools and children having to have armed teachers, I don't think the world is envying us for that. But I appreciate you coming through.
On
I got to
that,
move it on.
oh, why did you end it like that, bro? Okay,
You'll be
fine. I'll
you'll be
talk to you
welcome back.
later. I could go back. I'll cycle through. All right, I'll talk to you later. That was a
All
good
right,
one.
all right, and I like to let a person get their point across, but I mean, I got other folks that want to get in here, and she's always welcome back. Wolverines USA. Wolverines. Isn't that from Wolverines? Okay, so I already know where you're going. I'm fine with that. I will look forward to hearing from you. Wolverines. What's going on?
What's up, man?
Nothing at all. What's on your mind?
Well, unfortunately, racism's never gonna die.
I agree. Keep
Never
going.
gonna die. White people are growingly going back to racism, and I'll tell you why.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm listening.
when you got blacks with their fists in the air, you're not gonna get lay down people on the other side. When you got blacks
What do you mean? What do you
bur-
mean by blacks
burning
with their
down our
fists in
cities,
the air?
yeah, when you're burning down our cities with flags with your fist in the air, you're not going to get peacefulness on the other side. I don't know what you're looking for. When you got your ass
Okay.
hanging out and you're robbing people and you're fucking people up all the time, you're going to get
Okay,
static.
hold on, let me interrupt you. I'm gonna let you talk. I want to just ask you to be cautious with your speech. I'm not gonna ban shit. You can say anything you want to me, but I don't want you to say something that is too far crossing the intolerance line. So I'm just pleading with you to use synonyms where you can. Go ahead. Did I lose you?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you got blacks with their pants hanging out, underwear, walking around town, you got them throwing up flags with fists and burning down cities. What are you expecting peace from the? Why are you expecting peace? Whites to be more tolerant and less racist?
What city are you from? I'm just curious. Your signal is bad.
What's that?
I'm curious. What area in the country are you in? I'm
You're
just
breaking
curious.
up.
Yeah, I can hear you. I mean, can you hear me at all now?
It's real simple, man. When you got hostile blacks, I can now, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It's real simple. It's real simple. When whites got hostility thrown at them, they're not going to get timid, bro. They're not going to like you they're not going to be forced into liking somebody that's smashing their cities and running around with flags with fists in the air. White people are not lay down people.
Let me ask you this question. Remember during the Martin Luther King era, consider how bad African Americans.
I wasn't there.
You read history. I'm sure you read a history book, right?
Yeah, well, that goes, you guys say history's not taught right, so I wouldn't go to history.
Okay, well, let me just give you my point and you can discredit any part of it you want. If you read history books, you look at the Martin Luther King era, despite how African Americans were treated and they were getting things burned down and lynched and things like that, African Americans did not rise up and commit acts of atrocity like what you're suggesting that whites seeing flags and with fists on it should do. So are you suggesting that the Caucasian race is more violent or something?
No, I'm just saying that look at the way that they handled their stuff down there with Martin Luther King. Did they have flags with fists in the air and burning down cities?
No, but they still met violence, and that's a good point you mentioned. For all
no, but did they portray violence for peace?
Are you suggesting was Martin Luther King violent?
Right. Did he meet violent racism and try to change it with violence?
No, he tried to change it with peace.
And that's where the blacks lost their way, and that's why racism is going to grow. Is because you lost Martin Luther King, you shit on him.
So are you suggesting
now you go out with a flag with a fist in the air and you burn down cities and you taunt white people and you rob their shit, their stores that they've got out for people to enjoy, and it's gonna fuel the fire. You're gonna make more racist white people than ever because you shit on Martin Luther King.
Okay, so are you suggesting that the blacks were the ones that treated Martin Luther King bad?
I'm suggesting that the blacks are making racism worse than it ever will be because you forgot what Martin Luther King did, what he accomplished, and how he did it. You're doing exactly what he told you not to do.
Okay, I guess the point I'm suggesting is you're saying what African Americans are doing now is going to make racism worse than it ever will be. We used to have people getting lynched and enslaved. How much worse can it get? Did I lose you, sir?
Well, if you want to go lynch and enslave people, you think that's going to fix racism, go ahead. But you should have listened to Martin Luther King.
Well, he was shot in the face, you understand, while he was talking.
You forgot, okay. You guys dissed Martin Luther King, man. And that's your problem.
I don't get where you suggested that Martin...
And you can't fight fire with fire on this.
Yeah, I don't get where you're suggesting that Martin Luther King was dissed or put down by black people. He's been revered as a hero. I don't understand where you're getting that from.
Or because you forgot. You forgot all his teachings, man. You forgot all his teachings. His peaceful protests move mountains. You don't do that anymore. You do exactly what he told you not to do. You go out and you burn places. You beat up people. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. If you're suggesting that Martin Luther King had it right in terms of being peaceful, why was he shot in the face? I think I might be losing you.
What does that got to do with now?
No, you're telling me to meet violence with peace. And I'm telling you, Martin Luther King met violence with peace and it killed him. Are you saying that times have changed and that won't happen now? Okay, I don't know. I guess we got a bad signal. Listen, folks. I understand, and I didn't drop the guy for any other reason other than
Look, look. If
okay. I don't know what was going on. I'm gonna try. Maybe it's my signal or his signal. See, we had a poor connection. I would love to hear from him again anytime. He's always welcome back. I make it clear, folks. It's not about agreeing or
Hello?
disagreeing. It's about free speech. Clarence, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I guess we had a bad signal with the last gentleman. I didn't want to drop him, but the signal was so poor,
First
we
off,
weren't making much of a connection. All right, what's on your mind? I'm sure you heard the last conversation, correct?
yeah, I just hopped up in here. I didn't know. I seen the title said Trump versus Black Lives Matter. And this dude said he can't. First off, let's just start what he was saying, calling black people blacks. Like, do you know what a black is? It's a black and mild cigarette. That's what a black is.
Okay.
Like, can you stop calling black people blacks with the S?
All right.
Like,
Well,
we don't call white people
well,
whites.
let me give you my spiel because I think this is certainly the first time you and I have talked, and I just want to make it clear.
Okay,
I am a huge proponent of free speech, regardless if
okay,
I agree or disagree with somebody. So that's why I let that gentleman talk. I didn't agree with nothing he said, and I was making it clear that, but I let him
okay.
speak until his signal started dying. But yeah, I thought what he was saying was intolerant at the least, oppressive at the worst. But go ahead.
He was just straight up racist. I mean, I don't understand first off, why does he keep saying that we didn't idolize MLK? Obviously we did. And
I
I
don't
don't
know where
understand.
that came
Where
from.
does that
I
come
don't
from?
either.
And another
I don't
thing
know
is,
where that came from.
he keeps saying, you guys making racism worse, you guys doing this. Like, did he forget the fact that we were brought over here from Africa 400 years ago? Did we put shackles on our own feet and shackles on our own hands? Like, what? How could
But he was a
even a
big, but apparently he was a huge fan of Martin Luther King, though.
yeah? I don't get that. And another
I
thing,
don't either. I
why does
don't
he
either.
keep saying you guys burned down city? Does he know who set fire to the Minneapolis police station? It was white people. Do you know who set fire to a Wendy's? It was a white woman. Do you know who does all these lootings and stuff? It is white people walking out of Target. Target even made an announcement saying we do not condone the violence, but we understand it because the killing of George Floyd did not need to happen. Like, does he even know this? These are the
Did
things
they
that
say
racists
that? Did Target actually
look at.
release it?
I just saw a video on it and I looked it up myself. Target came out
Wow.
and made an announcement saying that we while we do not condone the looting and the destructive property, we do sympathize with the people of that community who have lost George Floyd, a good human being, all that stuff. But that's my point. It's not even about monetary things that can be replaced. It's about these people's lives that are being killed in unalived in broad daylight on camera. So I just don't understand. Like, first off, he's just racist. Let's just get that out the way. But this ideology of people like him that are in Congress that are voting, this is the problem. Like, this is the reason people like him are able to vote. These racists, these people that think like him and have this idea in their head that all black people are burning cities. But what about this? Why do you care about January 6th? What about the black people who burn buildings? Huh? Like, what about this? Like, that is what I'm talking about. These people vote for these people who want to protect
Well,
guns
let me.
and
I get your point. Let me say this because my preferred audience, by the way, welcome to the room. But my preferred audience is MAGA. Overwhelmingly, the crowd in here is MAGA.
oh, so
Even
you're
though you see
conservative.
my name and yeah, even though you see my name and I lean left. I like to get healthy dialogue going across with the other side. And most MAGA folks, just in defense of my folks I talk to, most MAGA folks that I talk to do not get on air and say something that was as strong as what he was talking about.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe I'm sure there's a lot of MAGA folks who are watching me right now, and like I don't agree with that. I understand that there are areas where Black Lives Matter has went out of hand and not necessarily protested irresponsible police, but just opportunistic folks who, like, I was in Ferguson a couple days after that happened there with I think it was Freddie Gray or one of the guys there, or Brown or one of the guys, and they were looting private businesses, just mom and pop businesses that had nothing to do with it. There's going to be opportunistic and opportunists in mob movements, just like still at the podium taking pictures from Nancy Pelosi's desk. That has nothing to do with the integrity of the election. But the notion that African Americans are just going around America setting it on fire, which is what he was suggesting, and I don't know why bring up pants around your ass. You really want to become a racist because you see pants around people's ass? I don't know.
That is a racist dog whistle that
Yeah.
people like him say, to say that all Black people sag their pants, and like, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, white people stole our culture and they do it too. So what are you saying, that all white people sag their pants, that makes them ghetto? Like, you can play the side both coins. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And that's
people,
what I tend to do is I can see both sides of an issue. He just went so far to the right that, and I can see both sides of the issue, and I can even see areas where I think
he's back in the thing. You want to try him again and see if we can,
you want to talk to him.
I want to talk to him. Yes, I want to talk to him.
Okay, folks,
you have to talk
folks,
to these people.
you understand.
You have to
Now
talk
he
to
actually, okay, I'm gonna put him on. And Cleve Dog,
Let's
I
see
do
what-
see you there. Cleve Dog, I'm not going to ignore you, Cleve Dog, but I just want to. I don't want to put too many folks on because I don't want you talking over each other. But I'm gonna let you holler at Wolverine.
Yeah, let's see what he got to say.
Yeah, man. I'm just giving you a white man's view, putting you in my shoes for a minute, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you guys stomped on everything Martin Luther King stood for and told you that worked. We sat here and watched Ferguson burn, and it wasn't no white people out there. We were there. It was blacks. Okay. They beat down and killed a black cop.
Okay, hold on. Hang on. I don't. And Wolverine, I'm gonna let you talk, but I'm just asking you once again. Make sure you use synonyms. I don't want you to get banned. I don't want to get banned listening to you.
What is wrong with saying a black? What is wrong with saying a black person now?
Nothing at all.
No.
But you sound like you're going down the avenue that you may say something else. I could be wrong.
I'm
just trying to give you. Trying to let you look. I'm trying to put my shoes on you, so you understand where these white guys are running around all pissed off. Is because you got to look at yourself for a minute. You guys got to quit blaming whites for bringing you over here in shackles for a minute and say we're all Americans here. And why is there still a problem? It's because, number one, you're living in the past. You're talking about somebody put a shackle on your arm. Okay, I know many Africans that came here from Africa that totally disband what blacks say in America and tell me how big of idiots you are. You don't know how good you have it here because you're too far looking in the past at stuff that you should live in the future as an American. That's the problem, okay? And the problem is when whites see you guys burning down cities, and I don't care how many, there was white people doing it too, but we saw the majority of it in Ferguson and other places, New York. You're looting stores that people own, and you say, oh, it's just monetary. These are people's families and livelihoods. They've worked all their lives to build these businesses, and you brush it off. And I'm telling you, y'all forgot everything that Martin Luther King stood for, and you're a disgrace.
Okay.
And that's why nothing's getting done. Okay. Racism is building because of you guys.
Right, you gotta let the other man speak. You gotta let Clarence speak. All right, Clarence, give a rebuttal.
So your whole thing is that you care about people's money and their living and all this stuff, rather than a person getting.
No, that's not my whole thing.
Can I talk? Can I?
Hold on, Wolverine, real quick. You're gonna get to finish, Clarence. Wolverine, real quick. Just want to ask you one question. What state are you in?
I'm in North Carolina.
All right, Clarence, go.
All right. So what you're saying is that you care about these people's well-being, you care about their businesses that they own, you care about all these things that are in that surrounding community, right? You care so much about that stuff, but you are not saying anything about the way George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Freddie Gray and Alton Sterling and all these black people were unalived by the police who are supposed to protect and serve this community that you care so much about, that so-called got burned down by black people, that we are getting unalived in the streets by the people who are supposed to serve and protect us. Do you see what I'm saying here? If you care so much about all these little communities and centers that black people go and spend their hard-earned money to, then you should care about the people that are getting unalived unjustly at the hands of the people that are supposed to serve and protect us. Make that make
Look,
sense.
I don't have any kind of joy on seeing anybody die.
I'm not
Okay,
saying
an
I'm not
American,
saying okay.
black,
Go ahead.
white, whatever. Okay, I'm married to a woman of color. Okay, we talk about this all the time with our children
Okay.
and with each other.
Okay.
Okay, and she's just as mad. She's not, if not madder about the situation than I am, and it's because you guys lost the peacefulness. You know, you have fist in the air. That's a war cry. Okay, when you got war, how do you expect peace to come out of a fist? Tell me how you expect peace to come out of a fist.
First off, let's get something straight. You do not have to clarify who you're dating or who your wife is for you to be able to talk. You don't have to say, I'm dating a woman of color, I'm dating a black man.
No, I'm married. I'm married. I have biracial kids.
You don't have to say that.
I don't have to say anything. I'm just telling you, bro.
You can hold on.
You have to listen. You have to be able to listen.
Yeah, you guys got to get. This is why. I'm gonna let you guys both speak, but I generally only bring one person on at a time because I try to avoid this from happening. You guys got to have an orderly conversation with each other. So, Clarence, finish your point, and then we'll go to Wolverine.
Okay. So, I'm not trying to, get you upset or anything like that. But the thing about it is, like, as a black man, it just seems kind of strange. Like, why would you say that? Oh, my wife is a woman of color, to clarify. Oh, we talk about this and we talk about that. I understand that's your perspective, being on the outside looking in, because your wife is a woman of color, and that's say, hey, we talk about these issues. But if you have knowledge on this stuff, then you should not have to bring up the fact that your wife is a woman of color. You get what I'm saying? So
why not?
That's all I wanted to say.
Why can't I? Why am I not allowed that privilege?
No, privilege. There you go, privilege. You don't.
Let
it's not.
You're making it a privilege.
Clarence, let him respond. Go ahead. Wolverine, go ahead.
You're making. So am I white privilege now? Because I can. Is it a privilege for me to be able to talk about her, or am I not allowed to talk about her? Me as a white man, I have to have a privilege, or I have to get an okay from you to say that I'm married to a white, and I'm outside the box now because I'm married to a woman of color. I'm still outside the box, right?
Can I answer? All right. So that's not. You took it the wrong way. That's not what I'm saying. So
I'm not allowed to say that.
I'm trying to answer here. All right. So what I'm saying is that it seems kind of like I'm not trying to offend you or anything. It's just like a token, like, hey, this person is a certain race.
Yeah, I'm a token white guy.
No, not you. Listen. I'm saying that whenever you say that,
or my wife is a token black woman.
Can you listen without responding?
Well, explain token to me.
I'm trying to. Okay, if you would listen. All right. Okay. So it's like if I'm dating a Mexican and they're like, "Oh, do you know Spanish?"
Give my likes up real quick, folks. Tap the screen. This is good fucking content as usual. 15,000. Go, Clarence.
Yeah. All right. So look, this is what I'm saying, man. It's like if I'm dating someone, it's like, hey, look, I understand Spanish because my wife is Mexican. Like, hey, oh, just because your wife is Mexican, that means that you know Spanish. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're tokenizing that person, making it because they are a certain race. That means you know this, and that, and the other, which is not really the fact.
Okay, so I probably, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to do your own like research. You have to realize that her perspective is different from your perspective. Okay, and like you
It's
always
not.
say,
It's not.
can I? Oh, can I? All right.
Okay, Clarence, Clarence. With all due respect, you do got to get your point across.
I'm
Okay.
trying to. He keeps
All right.
interrupting. Like,
All right.
you understand?
We'll give you 30 seconds, and then we'll go back to
Yeah,
Wolverine.
that's
Okay.
what I'm trying to get to the
Go.
finish. All right, I'm
Go.
almost done.
Go.
So all I'm saying is that when you bring up, well, my wife is a woman of color, it's just not something that you need to do to have a conversation. It's a good point to have, but it's not needed. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Wolverine. Wolverine, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah. Wolverine. I hear Clarence.
Yeah, I'm still here, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm here.
let's just forget about you bringing up the color. The color of your spouse means nothing to me. I do
Thank you.
say
That's all I'm
though,
saying.
I am shocked. I am absolutely stoked. I can't even come up with a synonym to tell you how shocked I am that you said you have a wife of color, but I don't care about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just simply suggesting that you're telling me that based on what you're seeing in the media, and my audience don't give a damn about the media. They believe the media defaces them. You're talking about what you see in the media is what's making Caucasians more racist. When did you start believing what you saw in the media?
No, it's not the media, bro. It's
Are
not the
you in
media
the
that
South?
now that you got people with phones and that go out in real life and record the stuff. I mean, it's not the media, and it's people that we see walking down the streets every day. It's the way people act in the streets and in public. It's not just the media. I never said media. And to tell me that I don't know a little bit more about blacks when I live with one and I'm not allowed to talk about it, it's more racist jargon that fuels the fire of America hate, man. When you tell me I can't bring up my wife of color and say that I might know a little more than a white man that's married to a white woman,
I hope somebody didn't get this. Okay.
Okay, it's breaking up. Hello?
Yeah, I'm just okay. All right, his signal's going down. I don't. If he
It's
comes
breaking
back
up.
through
Yeah,
with a better signal, I
it's
dropped
breaking
him.
up.
If he comes back through with a better signal, we'll continue it. But I have to admit, and folks, you can take this any kind of way. I am so scared of this guy getting blocked. Fortunately, he has not crossed the line. But I'm listening to him, and I'm like, damn, use a synonym. Be careful. I'm really
Yeah,
hoping that he doesn't get blocked because I know he is right there. I know he's right there. You know, it's like
yeah,
you're making love and you can feel it. You know you got him right where you like, I
yeah,
know
yeah,
he about to bust. And
yeah.
I'm trying not to make him bust, but it is what it is. All right, Clarence.
So yeah,
I
let me just piggyback away because he kept. I'm telling you, he
go
was
ahead.
offended. He was offended by just what I was saying, and it just came out like I was like leading him. He almost said something racist, like he almost did. He almost went there. So that's all I'm saying, man, is that he thinks he knows something because he dates a woman of color, and he just showed it right there. I can't do this. That's racist because I know. He said I know more about racism because I'm dating a woman of color than a white person will be dating a white person. That has nothing. The race of your spouse has nothing to do with your knowledge on an issue. Like your own knowledge is your own
I
knowledge.
don't. Yeah, I get what you're
Exactly.
saying. I don't mind that. I don't mind. I mean, it
Yeah.
shocked me, but I don't mind what him saying
Exactly.
that. But look, I got to move it on, man.
Yeah.
That was one of the most interesting dialogues. Hey,
Exactly.
come back to
Yeah.
the program, man. Come
Yeah. For
back to the
sure.
program.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
definitely
I'll
like
be
to
here.
hear from you
But
again,
I
man.
just wanted to say I didn't know that your audience was Trumper. I didn't know that.
My audience is predominantly MAGA. I roll with MAGA, even though I'm liberal. I roll with MAGA because I love hearing these type of conversations. I like to hear people speak,
So you
even if I
like
don't agree with
MAGA?
it. I don't. We don't run an echo chamber in here. I don't want to just be a liberal bashing Republicans all day, and I don't want to be somewhere
No.
where it's yeah. So that's why we
I mean,
roll.
yeah.
And I let folks speak. I try to keep the dialogue as civil as
I just like
possible.
to have
So
conversations, and don't be racist or ignorant. That's all I ask. But
I
it's
can't
good to
guarantee
have.
you. I can't guarantee you all of that, but I can guarantee you civility. Come on back, man. Anytime.
Okay, all right.
All right. All right. Okay. And by the way, folks, I saw somebody in the audience where you kicked him off. His signal was nothing. He was on twice. For you guys who watch the broadcast regularly, for those who follow me, 7 p.m. I'm here every night. I don't kick anybody off. I've had folks look through my videos. Whenever this broadcast ends, look through all of my videos. The one in the top left-hand corner is a caller cussing me the hell out, and I didn't censor him at all. In fact, he still has access to the broadcast. I don't block anybody. I let people speak. I was careful because, unfortunately, because I'm left, my audience is right. Sometimes folks take the liberty and say shit that TikTok bans. You won't get banned from me, but I can't control TikTok. I gotta go back to work. I'm gonna take one more, and we'll see what happens, because I had Cleve Dog has been on hold for a minute. You guys have got me in overtime. But that was a good dialogue. I enjoyed that. Cleve Dog, good afternoon. Okay, it's not letting Cleve Dog in for some reason. The thing is cycling through. Could be me with a bad signal. But you guys seem to be able to hear me. We'll go on to the next caller. If I can't get Cleve Dog, or it says Cleve Dog again. Let's try it once again. Boy, I don't know why it's saying connection failed for some reason. I'm trying to let Cleve Dog in here, and it's not letting me do it. Cleve Dog, for some reason, I'm trying to connect to let you back in. But in regards to this conversation, I will tell Wolverine, you are welcome here anytime. Come on back through anytime. 7 p.m. Central is when I do this normally. I got to get out of here. I got to go back to work like everybody else. I got to pull my pants up, Wolverine. I got to pull my pants up. You don't want to see me out here burning shit, do you? I got to go, folks. It's the Handsome Liberal. Catch you later.